Alright, a month has passed since I first started this YouTube channel talking about Civil War in America. So in this video, I would like to back up now and talk about the origins of this, the progression of this, and bring you up to date to where we are today. So I'm not going to make this a super long video. I could go back and talk about the very beginnings. The assault weapons ban in the 90s. The attack at Ruby Ridge, where a sniper killed a woman holding a baby. A United States, a U.S. Marshal did that. I could talk then also about Waco, where the government burned down the Waco compound and killed 19 children, and nearly all of the adults. I could talk about the right-wing response in the form of the very insane Timothy McVeigh, who killed a whole bunch of people that had nothing to do with Waco. I could talk about a lot of things, but let's start in more recent times with Donald Trump. So Antifa, an organization coming out of the Occupy movement, starts targeting Donald Trump back in the summer of 2016, when it starts to look like that he is gaining respectability and voters. You've got violence occurring then on many sides. Then you have the election where the accidental president is elected by the people by a narrow margin, losing the popular vote but winning through the electoral college. Then you've got all of the threats immediately that day coming from Hollywood. People threatening to punch Trump in the face. People threatening to batter Trump with a ball bat. Madonna talking about blowing up the White House. You have them immediately, them being everyone on the left, immediately calling for their people to rise up, to resist, to engage in pre-Civil War activities. And they responded, and they did. And we had a spring in 2017 where people were getting their heads bashed in, getting pepper sprayed for exercising freedom of speech. This hysteria where everyone's called a Nazi, where everyone is called racist, whether you are or not, where even black people and Jews are being called white supremacists. Then you flash forward and you come now to Charlottesville. And in Charlottesville, what you've got is a bunch of Black Lives Matter, we'll call them protesters for now. Also, you have Antifa there, who have already targeted a Confederate statue in that city. A group of individuals, some of them white supremacists, many of them just there to protect the heritage, and many of them just independent journalists like myself. Well, I'm not a journalist, but people that are real independent journalists who were there were also victims of the violence. If you go back and look for the video, you can find Black Lives Matter taunting the people at Charlottesville and waving bats at them, telling them this is the day that they are going to die. I watched that live stream as it went down, skipping from live stream to live stream. I was one of the first people on Facebook to say, Donald Trump was right. There was violence coming from both sides. I saw how the Charlottesville police shoved the Confederate protectionists who were protecting the statue. Instead of letting them slip out the back, Jack, they forced them, literally shoved them right into the jaws of Black Lives Matter and Antifa, who were waiting for them with shields and bats and knives and pepper spray. In one video that's been greatly covered up, a white supremacist who's being battered and who turns around to see an old man being victimized by a Black Lives Matter individual who had a aerosol can and a big lighter and was trying to set the man on fire. And the white supremacist pulls out a pistol, concealed pistol, fires several times at the guy and yells, "Die, N-word." Awful stuff. I mean, it's just awful. Just awful. And then one of the butthurt white supremacists, some kid from his mom's basement, takes his privileged Charger and drives into a crowd of people, wounding 100 but killing no one. Let's be perfectly clear about this. Her own mother, the girl that died's own mother, said she died of a heart attack. There are many YouTubers who break this video down and show you how she almost got hit by the car, and the sheer fright of it, she died from a heart attack because she was over 300 pounds and a smoker. So, more fake news. All through these events leading up to Charlottesville, you have and all through the election, you have the left-wing mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, the New York Times. All of these people clearly campaigning for Hillary Clinton and trying to destroy Donald Trump. The mainstream media has been co-opted by the communist revolution. They are part of the Bolshevik revolution. There is a war going on in Fox News, and has been, where the communists that have sway within that organization are trying to spin it and turn it away from the American people's view and the view of the right to the left. You know, they canned Bill O'Reilly on some trumped up stuff. I don't know, this is probably going to make people mad. I don't care. It's time for all of us to get mad. Bad crap is going down. So, from Charlottesville till now, you've seen a spiraling out of control. Antifa was finally outed for the scum that they are, and they were labeled a terrorist group and went underground. And then this. And there's lots of stuff in there, stuff I've missed. Read the writing on the wall. The next move is they go after the guns. This will happen when the right finally has had enough and they retaliate in some fashion. I won't speculate how I think they might retaliate. I don't think they'll copy this endeavor because shooting a bunch of unarmed people is rather gutless and cowardly and impossible to defend. But I will say this, the leadership on the left, the media, Antifa leadership, left-wing politicians who run their addled minds, they run their mouths and they have addled brains and they can't even keep the facts straight, and they just spew this ridiculous mantra. You will see, whether or not the right respond, you will see this Mueller character who is, trust me, a communist deep state counterintelligence mole. He's going to come up with something to try and indict Donald Trump. They may actually kill our president. Any of these things will be triggers. The guns, the impeachment, or the murder of our president. The biggest thing that you will face as this civil war unfolds is the need to eat. Sooner or later, you won't be able to go to the grocery store and buy food anymore. You may have to go stand in a government line to get a loaf of bread and a piece of cheese. While things are plentiful, while the harvest is in, while the food shelves are stocked, you should buy food. Don't buy guns and ammo. You may or may not even need them. You may or may not even get to keep them. Buy food. Hide it like a rat. Because the greatest problem that we all will face once this starts to go down is simple survival and feeding ourselves. God save this union.